Hey everyone, this is Tell the Truth Sports Radio. I'm your host, Ron Fitch, and I want to break down the Final Four, Connecticut and Miami. Well, it's not really a contrast of styles because both teams like to run. Miami's one of the best offensive teams in the country. And I said about a month ago, they're not the best defensive team, but I tell you what, this tournament started, they've racked up and they cranked it up as far as defensive presence and prowess is concerned. Because look what they did to Houston. Look how they shut Texas down the last 5 minutes, and they could score. And they come at you as far as guards and ways because Isaiah Wong and Jordan Miller are both go-to guys at the end of the games. And you could go to Nigel Pack. So you go to that three-headed monster, and then you get an offensive rebounds and defensive presence from Omir. They got a nice connection. And mine's playing really well, but nobody's in the country's playing better than Connecticut. They're playing great, and they got the old school inside presence with Sonogo, with the great three-point shooting of Hawkins shooting 40. I believe he's in this tournament. He's shooting 51% from three. My gosh. I mean, you just can't give him any airspace. And you have the guy who hits the threes that put games away, Alex Caravan. If you notice, when they're ever on a run and they get on a fast break, Caravan always runs to the 3-point line. They kick it to him. He hits the threes. He's always hitting the 3-point shot that puts them up 11, puts them up 15. And now they're off to the races, up and down the court. As good as they are, usually teams that are pounding inside like to just stay in half court. But Danny Hurley likes to have his teams run. They're solid. They're smart. They're disciplined. His system is tight. He's great at finding mismatches. So if Sonogo it can't score, he'll go on the perimeter. And if you have a lousy perimeter defender, he's going to pick at that sore all game long until you adjust. And then he's going to readjust. That's what I love about Hurley. He's got a pedigree with his dad and his brother's coach. His dad's one of the greatest high school coaches ever lived, and Bobby Hurley, senior. And I've seen him at St. Benedict's. And then I followed him at Wagner, and I saw his progression. And I knew when he took the job at Connecticut, I said, that's the first step of Connecticut being Connecticut I know. And then when they got back to the Big East, I said, that's the Connecticut I know. And they're back in the Final Four where they belong. If they win this national championship, it would be the fifth in 25 years. No team in college basketball has done better as far as men's is concerned. Their women, of course, is one, but they're the gold standard. If they win this time, they're the team, and they're not going anywhere if they do win. But man, listen, this first game is going to be tough. I think it's going to be a tough game because Miami will fight you. They're hard nosed. They make tough shots. Isaiah Wong will hit that little turnaround. He'll hit the shot in your face. They hit tough shots in big situations. But so does Connecticut. The key for Connecticut, and this is why I believe they're going to win, is the dome in Houston where they're playing. It's hard to shoot. And a lot of times when teams play in domes, just go back and look. The bigger teams that play bigger, that can score inside a little better, usually advance. Kansas and North Carolina were big teams. They played big. They shot it pretty good. And the harder it is to shoot, the more you want bigger guys to get to the basket and could get easier baskets. And Sonogo is that guy. And Clegan is a great freshman. He's the type of guy. He's good. Sonogo's good getting the ball in the post, scoring, passing out of the post, which he's really good at. That's what sets Hawkins up for easy shots. And Carabin, to give them easy shots. And then it allows a guy who plays like Draymond Green and Andre Jackson to eat because he's one of the best cutters to the basket in college basketball. He plays great defense. He's athletic. He can run the floor. He knows his role really good. Everybody in Connecticut knows their role. That's what I like about Connecticut. That's what I like about Miami. All their guards know their role. They're hard-nosed. The problem is the bigs. Clegan is a different kind of big. He's the type that slides off the pick, and I call it the pick and slide, where he sets the pick, but it's a quick pick where he kind of goes to the basket for the alley oop or the slip screen, where he catches the ball and lays it up. But a lot of times they like that little pick, and when the guard is driving to the basket, kind of flips it up in the air for a quick alley oop, and he's good at that. So with Sanogo, they just like to get him the ball by the rim and let him do what he does and he eats. So I think that's going to be big in this kind of game where shooting won't be as good until they adjust to the lighting of the dome. So that favors Connecticut. I think Connecticut squeaks by and beats Miami, and it allows them to get back to the national championship game for the fifth time. They went to every national championship game they went to, they've won. This won't be easy. I can see Miami winning because Miami's got that it factor, especially down the stretch. They got dudes that can get you buckets when it matters in Wong and Miller, and they make their free throws. But Connecticut does too. The one thing Miami might have an advantage of is to try to turn over Aline. Naeem Aline, the point guard of Connecticut, is there. He's okay. He's good. He's not your typical great usual great Connecticut point guard. And Kimball Walker and all the greats and Khalid El Amin. They had a lot of great point guards that played. Kevin Ollie, who was a coach. So yeah, a lot. He's good. He's not that elite. So maybe Miami could take advantage of that. But I just think that Connecticut's going to find a way somehow to win. I don't think they're 5-point favorite. I don't know if they're going to cover. I think Miami makes it really tight. Connecticut moves on. All right, San Diego State and Florida Atlantic. I'm going to be rooting for Florida Atlantic. They're exciting. I like how they played. They took out Tennessee. They took out Kansas State, which I thought was a team of destiny. They won games. I mean, you look at Florida Atlantic's incredible run to the tournament. It's like how it's just amazing. They had no business beating Memphis. Memphis threw that game away the last 3 minutes. They took out Fairleigh Dickinson, who was hot, and they pulled off the upset. That was what was pretty fairly easy toward the end. They beat Tennessee when everybody thought Tennessee was going to make a run. And then the darlings of the tournament, Marquise Noel, who took over New York City and still lost to Florida Atlantic by 3. They outlasted Florida, and they showed they have a level of toughness. They're really, from 5 minutes on, they've mastered crunch time with their guard play. They had it leads me to believe they could win this game because Davis, Martin, Greenlee, and Golden being a beast inside, the transfer from Texas Tech, he's been a beast inside. And boy, doing what they had to do. But Greenlee, Martin, and Davis really have given them money buckets. Now, we get on San Diego State side. They're like the 2000 Ravens. They just shut you down defensively. They have held teams to 18% shooting from 3. And Florida Atlantic has shot the 3 decent, but decent will get you beat against San Diego State. They're going to have to hit every single shot they take. Every single shot they take, they better make. I'm just telling you. The problem is San Diego State's defense is amazing. They shut Alabama down. They shut Creighton down. They shut every team down they played. And when you hold 3-point shooters down to 18%, you're saying something. And another problem is Golden was great inside. One thing I love about Golden on Florida Atlantic is that he keeps the ball high. It's hard to just dig down and take the ball from him. He's a 7-footer that plays big. He gets a lot of offensive rebounds. They hustle. Florida Atlantic gets a lot of offensive rebounds, which leads to open threes because you're scrambling. San Diego State's a pretty good, very good defensive team. Menza is a monster on the boards. He's averaging 6 rebounds a game. Menza will battle Golden, and I heard a guy from CBS Sports put it perfectly. There's tape on Golden now. After Golden dominated in New York City, San Diego State will have tape on him. They will be ready. They will be ready. I'm just telling you. They'll be ready for Golden. And the way they defend, I like Florida State. I like San Diego State. This is the problem. Trammell has been their guy that's been scoring. But the guy that's got to get going is Matt Bradley. He hasn't played as well. Hit a big shot against Alabama, but Florida Atlantic will advance. When you watch this game, look at Matt Bradley's stats. If Matt Bradley's giving you 15 to 25 points, I'll go higher. 18 to 25 points, San Diego State is going to win because their defense they're going to shut Florida Atlantic down, but Florida Atlantic is going to find a way to get buckets the last 5 minutes. And San Diego State's kind of offensively challenged. They're not the most exciting team. I haven't rooted for them. But, man, when you can just go out there and D up, and that coach, I just remember that coach was on the staff of the Fab Five Michigan teams in the 90s. I remember him in a documentary. I'm thinking, now Coach May has done a great job at Florida Atlantic. Don't get me wrong. But I like what San Diego State has done. And I like defense. Usually defense wins championships, but you do have to have some scoring. I just don't know if they have enough. But you know what? I'm all right with it. I want Florida Atlantic to win this game because I want to see Florida Atlantic in the winner of UCON. I want UConn, but Miami's pretty exciting. So if they did win, okay. I want to see Florida Atlantic complete this deal and get to the championship round. But it's going to be hard when San Diego State play. I mean, they just shut down Alabama and Creighton. Creighton's an efficient offensive team, and they shut those teams down. And Florida Atlantic's really good offensively, but they're not as good as those teams. So that lends me to pause about how they're going to score. I really do. How are they going to score? It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I just like I like San Diego State to make enough plays in their offense to cut down the nets and move on and march on to play Connecticut. And that would be a rematch of, let me think here, 2014, Kawhi Leonard versus Kemba Walker. And what was the other guard's name? And it was Lamb. I know it was Lamb. And it was Connecticut versus San Diego State. And Kawhi Leonard had just knocked off Kyrie Irving and Duke. And they end up losing to UConn in a really good game. UConn marched on, beat Kentucky, and then they beat Butler. And this is a similar season because if you think about it, Butler and VCU made a great run. Butler was a really good defensive team. VCU was that hot mid-major team that made the run like Florida Atlantic, and Butler shut them down, but Butler didn't have enough offense to be Connecticut. I just think that's how the scenario is end up going to go. I believe that Connecticut, if we get there Monday, because it could be Florida Atlantic and Miami, this has been a wild college basketball season. And even though I picked Alabama and Houston, if it started again, I would do the same thing. The problem is, I also did say that this is going to be one of those years that anything can happen. You have a lot of mid-majors, lower seeds, take control. But I think it's going to come down to Ryan Dutcher's team, San Diego State, versus Danny Hurley's team in Connecticut Monday.